It's down, by the way, 50% from the numbers 50 years ago. Economic development. Things are happening there on the entrepreneurial forefront. And we make small loans to people that are living, on that $2 a day, loans for as low as $50 or $60, all the way up to $400 or $500. In addition to that, we give them access to savings. Now that may not sound like a very important thing to you, but trust me, a woman trying to raise her kids, with a husband that's there sometimes and not there a lot of times, and the only safe place she has to keep her money is on her person, or perhaps buried in a hole someplace under a tree. And oh, by the way, her savings are pretty meager. They're usually only $5 or $7 or $8. Banks and institutions, financial institutions, don't want to deal with that client. At Opportunity International, we provide that woman access to savings. And we do it with some pretty cool technology, too. We actually have mobile banks. We go out with trucks for clients to make deposits, take out loans. We have cell phone banking, where a client can, from their home or their business, transact their business. We'll open up an account for as little as $3 for a client in the countries we have banks. Now, you're talking about folks that in a lot of cases don't have shoes. They certainly don't have any identification. So how do you identify who that client is? Fingerprint technology, biometric technology. I heard all about this when I first started Opportunity, and I had a chance to go to Kigali in Rwanda, and I said, I got to test all this out. I heard about all this high-tech stuff. And I walked into the main branch. They totally didn't know I was coming, had no idea what I was there for. I walked in. I am the only white guy in the entire place, and I want to open up an account for $10. And they just kind of stared at me and, no problem. Where are you from? I said, North Carolina. They said, what? North Carolina? What's in North Carolina? Well, anyhow, they went about the business as they normally do with everybody else. They wrote down my name, wrote down my address, scanned my finger, this finger, by the way, right here. They scanned it, took my $10, deposited it in the bank, gave me a receipt, gave me a little card, an identification card, and told me I could take out my money anytime I wanted out of any of the Opportunity banks in all of Rwanda. What they didn't know at the time they told me that is that I had a driver and a car outside waiting for me to take me to a northern part of Rwanda in the Virunga Mountains, because I knew our mobile bank was out running around, hooked up by satellite, supposedly real-time uplink. We found this truck in this remote village. They had no water, and they had open sewers in the street. And there was a couple of armed guards standing outside of it, and the side of the van was opened up like a little kiosk. I walked up, put my finger on the fingerprint machine, and they had my account. Now, why does Bank of America and Citigroup take 4 days to clear my check? Amazing technology. It's so important when you think about a woman living in poverty, struggling day to day, just wanting to save enough money to put her kids in school. To have access to that kind of technology where the savings is hers, it can't be taken from her. Only she has access, not the husband, not anybody else in the family, because it's her identification, it's her fingerprint. Smallholder farmers have a really unique challenge in the developing world. It was fascinating in Malawi to listen to how farm loans and it's a piece of business we're really going after aggressively, combining rural finance, rural savings, and rural lending, if you will, and insurance for smallholder farmers. Again, the new generation, the next generation of microfinance, simple micro-lending, it may add value, but it doesn't complete the picture. It's a three-legged stool, in my opinion, that we give clients the opportunity to step out of poverty and stay out of poverty. And the three legs are the lending, the savings, and the insurance to mitigate against catastrophic loss. And it's all woven together very carefully with training. All I just heard in this last panel, it's all about training. Our clients come on to weekly and bi-weekly trust group meetings, 10 to 20 people. They come together and they learn business skills, basic business skills. They have these small businesses, they have no idea what incomes and outgoes are. So it's real fundamental training. We also do lifestyle training, financial literacy training. Try to educate the client as to when's the right time to take out a loan, maybe when's the time to dip into your savings. Now come back to the farmer. Think about that from farming. Farming is cyclical. There's the growing season, the harvest. Your reward, if you will, comes all at once when it's harvest time. Saw a farmer come to our group, lending group officer, and big bag of seed on his shoulders. Says, I want to take out a farm loan. Well, we will not finance just subsistence farmers. We are looking for business farmers, people that can actually plant and grow more than what they need to survive on themselves, because we're a commercial bank. And I listened to this interchange between the farm experts or our farm loan officers and this individual, and they said, well, how much land do you have? And they said, I got 2 hectares. Well, how do you know you have 2 hectares? It says right there on the bag of seeds, 2 hectares. Think of the lack of relationship between the land and the bag of seeds. Well, Opportunity International, with a partnership of people just like you in this room, we have incredible technology at work in the ag business. We actually use global position satellite GPS technology to go to that farmer's land to measure it, to see if in fact that they have 5 hectares. If he or she has 5 hectares, we can help them we can test, we work with extension providers, service providers in the marketplace to help them test the soil, to learn which crops are best to grow. Is it groundnuts? Is it maize? Is it barley? Is it beans? What's best for that farmer to grow? It's important that when you're talking about people in the developing world that for the most part have no education, that providing access to financial services, savings, lending, and insurance without education and without access to that type of support, it's a complete failure. Farmers have problems in the cycle. Halfway through the growing cycle, they need money to pay for their kids' school. What happens? Along comes a loan shark. Glad to lend it to you at 100% a month. And there's side selling that goes on. People come along and say, hey, I'd love to buy your crops. I'll give you 50 cents on the dollar. But again, having a savings account, having someplace to dip into, and having a couple of years of success with Opportunity International takes that farmer to a whole different lifestyle. You know, I'm going to close here with this. I ask this question at every trust group meeting I've been in around the world. When I sit with a group of 15 or 20 women and ask the question, how many of you here use either a portion of your loan or the proceeds, some of the proceeds from your business, to fund your kids' education? 75% of the time, every trust group, the hands go up in the air and the smiles appear on the face. I call that touching the future, touching future entrepreneurs in a very, very exciting way. And I just got the signal, so I'm going to say thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present to you. I really appreciate it.